Well, hello and a very warm welcome to Business Today TV. I am Chetan Bhutani. Well, automotive sector is in leaps and bounds growing and seeing record numbers. But what goes behind is what we really don't know. And the technological aspect, the tech, and the data that the company uses is definitely one would want to know. And I'm joined by the Chief Information Officer of a very leading company who is heading this automation and, of course, the technological aspect of it. Mr. Gopinath Jayaraj, thank you so much for joining us. He's the CIO at Tata Motors. Mr. Jayaraj, I'd like to start by asking you a very arm army kind of a question. You know, the common man, how is Tata Motors leveraging the technology and the data so that the arm army drives its car well without facing any particular software issue or probably any on-ground issues?
Thanks, Chetan. Thanks for this opportunity to speak with you and your audience, and it's my privilege to be able to do so. Your question is an interesting one, and it's something that we as an organization are also trying to address in various forms, right? To specifically speak about how we are trying to change, you asked how is an Aam Aadmi who's driving our vehicle, and we have two types of Aam Aadmi there. We have the Aam Aadmi who drives our cars, and we also have the Aam truck driver who drives our trucks. So there are two types of customers who are there who are experiencing a vehicle. And our attempt as a company has been to look at not just fulfilling the aspect of providing a product to them, but actually start to get into their shoes and understand what kind of experience they're going through, and enhancing that experience using technology, using design, to make sure that the experience is pleasant, it gets their outcomes done in a more efficient manner, and it's done in a smooth and seamless manner. So, for example, our cars, we have, all of us are going through this digital revolution process. We are changing the way we buy our food. We are ordering them online. We are changing the way we do shopping. We change the way we take a ride, say through an Uber. These are all things that are already happening to us, and the same customer is buying a car today, and the expectation is not just about driving a vehicle as a product, but also the kind of experience they have with it, and stay connected with the product even if they are not within it. So for example, we have our IRA application, or the Z Connect application, which is part of our electric vehicle, which allows the user or the customer to be able to look at the car's health, monitor its status, the level of charge, etc., remotely, even when they're not within the car. So we're using technology to extend and augment the experience that the customer is having with our product.
Right. So I'd like to ask you, taking your question forward, don't you think that it's a very kind of a personal question as well? Having so much data, having so much technology, ultimately would give you a distraction while driving. So don't you think the features should be lessened? In fact, India is a market where more features, the better the features, the more the features, the better it is. But yes, but in long term, don't you think that this is going to be eventually a hazard for the public and eventually be more distractive?
You are right, Chetan, and I think safety is extremely important. We pride ourselves on safety. We are also the best rated as far as crash ratings are concerned in the country. The point about driver distraction is extremely important, and I think you're very right to say that the applications that I just mentioned are designed to be used offline when they are outside the car. They're not to be used when they're actually driving, and there's no real value when they're actually driving. This is the values coming from being augmenting the experience when they're outside the car. So while first, that's for the first point. The second point is the experience that the customers have when they're inside the car are more driven by the audio visuals and the infotainment that sits inside the car. All the trucks are equally well equipped with infotainment and audio visuals today, which are designed in such a way that they enhance and support the driver's attention to the road. Eyes have to be on the road, and on being alert and being able to support that objective. So that's something that we are doing as an outset with as a design paradigm in our mind. The other thing is we're also doing things to improve that. For example, we are in the process of introducing driver behavior alerts in case that specifically in our commercial vehicles, our truck drivers are working long hours and late hours driving vehicles all across our country. If the driver is experiencing drowsiness, we are actually introducing technology inside our vehicles that will detect it and give an alert to the driver saying, you need to stop by at the next dhaba, which will also be told to him in a very proactive manner, and take a chai and take some rest so that you are going to lessen the chances of an accident. So that is the core focus that we have, and definitely whatever technology interventions we do are there to improve it. The second point is on the features. I think you're right. more is not necessarily better. It's more about curating it in such a way that it helps the customer's journey.
Right. I'll take the question. I'll take the answer forward when you mentioned about digitalization and, of course, of the manufacturing system. Tell us about what initiatives have you undertaken to ensure that the manufacturing system goes through a digitization and give our consumers, in a layman's language, as to how cars can be manufactured through digitization.
Yes, and that is the other aspect of our digital journey, right? So one side we already spoke about how customers are experiencing it using augmented parts of our product. Now, if you look at the manufacturing side, and we've been in manufacturing business for a very long time. We've been around for 70 plus years. We've been doing manufacturing for a very long time, and I think the big difference that's there about, and there are various words we use, right? Industry 1.0, 2.0, and right now it's 4.0, and what we're basically saying is that the ubiquity of sensors to collect data on the different aspects of the value chain, supply chain, and the manufacturing process, and the ubiquity of networked data being coming out of these sensors and being collated and correlated in order to improve the whole process. That is the essence of Industry 4.0. It's about connectedness, right? So connected manufacturing is a theme. Actually, connected enterprise is a theme within Tata Motors, where we want to connect our customer using the apps, connect our supply chain, connect our manufacturing, and connect our planning all in such a way that they are able to do the best possible process in an efficient manner with least waste. So having the right data at the right time in the right people's hands is the main objective of using digital for manufacturing. And we are doing that by continuously connecting all the different value chain links in the manufacturing process, like our supplier, our manufacturing lines, that is actually the equipment, the people who are using it, and finally the sales and operations planning teams who are actually giving the requirements as well as getting the outcome of the vehicles as they come out. So data connectedness and as the core founding blocks for Industry 4.0 for Tata Motors, helping to make the whole chain effective for bringing results to our customers.
Right, you mentioned about data a lot of times, and I would like to ask you, how do you use data to measure the on-road performance of the vehicles and, of course, the whole system? Is there a mechanism in place, or are you building it up? Can you give us some information on that?
Yes, we are actually swimming. There's a kind of a joke inside that we people always ask us, do you have a data lake? I said no, we are Tata Motors. We have a data ocean. It's not a lake. We have an ocean because that the amount of data being generated both within the organization and outside is just so much that it's really an ocean. There's also an adage to that. You can't just drink water from the ocean. The data that is there in the ocean needs to actually be processed and actually put in place in context so that you can consume it in an effective manner. So with that in mind, what we've done is we first went about creating a data backbone for our company, and that was selecting the different data sources, curating the sources, ensuring a common data model is there at the back end. And then these are technical words, but the idea is that when different systems are inside the company and they are coming with data, we need to make sure that the data means the same thing. A customer means customer across both manufacturing and the vehicle as well as the customer system. So those kind of data model alignments we did, and we built our own data lake solution called Sparkplug, and that has been the backbone of all our digital programs going forward, and that has really helped us bring the coherence to the data and bring the right data at the right time to the right people in a secure manner. So based on this, we were able to take the data journey forward.
Right. Gopinath sir, one more very interesting point. You use so much into data. With so much data and tech comes the responsibility to secure it and the need to secure it. What are
Yes.
the plans for data security? Because if you're mentioning about ocean of data available, it's your duty. I think the company is duty bound to protect it with equal amount of eagerness. So, what are the plans there?
Absolutely. The data security is paramount for Tata Motors, and we take our responsibility extremely seriously, right? So we have a very comprehensive approach to data security. We first of all make sure that we are having all the data sources appropriately identified. We are having a clear classification of our data in terms of what is internal to us, what is customer data, what's our the data that's private to our customers, and how this data is being interchanged among applications and how it's handled externally and internally, making sure that we are completely compliant with both the regulations that are there, as well as our own internal data security standards.
Could you
So
give
this
us a
is
number? Could you give me a number here as far as the data security investment goes, or probably how much data are you currently having? Any number to it?
So I would rather, instead of giving a number on that investment, I think the context I would say is better to say that we are currently, we have actually 14 different frameworks that we comply to.
Okay.
And we have that includes both our internal compliances, which are come from the government, and from the external compliances from the government, the internal compliances that we have, which are created within the Tata Group. And we have our own Tata Motors standards that we comply to. And these are fully, aligned with the framework and the expectations from the new requirements that are coming out from the government from time to time. So we are always in abreast with that, right? So that is one thing about how we are making sure that. The second thing is that from an internal perspective, we both have internal processes and capability to make sure that we are keeping the data in a protected manner. We engage external partners. We also leverage the group Tata Group capabilities in order to be
Right.
able to take the best in breed to make sure that our data is as secure and safe as possible for us and for our customers.
You mentioned about integrating this group companies for data security and all. Could you give us the companies which really actively participate in securing the data, like Tata Communications or Tata LXC, or what all companies are there
So,
in
so
that
we
particular
have
hub?
Yes, absolutely. So we as a group, we have a common approach that we have forums where we exchange information about what our positions are, how we are able to take, common steps. Knowledge is shared in order to make sure that everyone is on the same page with the best practices. So that's an ongoing activity that is there. It's coordinated by Tata Sons, by the holding company. And basis that we also ensure that all the participating companies, you mentioned few of them, TCS is definitely a big part of it,
Right.
being the leading IT enabler in the country and in the world actually. Other companies like LXC, Tata Technologies also participate. So does companies like Tata Communications, who carry a lot of data, not only ours but a lot of others also. So there is a lot of synergy within the group companies. There's a lot of exchange of data and knowledge, as well as about the security practices, of course, and also making sure that we are we're putting our best foot forward as far as our customers are concerned.
Got it. Any interesting trend you'd like to talk about for the automotive sector as far as manufacturing goes in the in the tech space or digitization space for 2023? Do you think would there be any more leverage available, or any more technology, artificial intelligence available, or 3D manufacturing? What are the trends you're overseeing now?
So I think the big trend is about shifting the mindset from creating a product to creating an experience.
Hmm.
So that at the heart of it, it changes a lot of things for us. We
Hmm.
are looking to go get more and more outcome based. So
Hmm.
on the passenger vehicle side, we are going to be seeing a lot more about shared mobility, about people experiencing a product, not necessarily being an owner, but also being a part of it as either as through a shared mobility framework or through other options like subscriptions, which is very interesting area now which is coming up. The other thing is on the commercial side, definitely the focus is shifting towards again outcomes, right? So, for example, the government is no longer buying buses anymore, right? Especially
Right.
electric buses. They are expecting us to just give a contract which will run the bus for a certain period of time with a certain distance to be covered, right? So those are completely outcome based, where we stop becoming a manufacturer. We, in addition to being a manufacturer, we are also a fleet operator. So those type of directional movements which have already happened this year are going to get more and more predominant when the object that is being purchased is an experience or an outcome rather than a product. And internally, we are aligning our technology to make sure that these things are happening in a streamlined fashion, and we are ready for it. And we are ahead of it as and when the demand keeps picking up in these different areas.
Right. Any investment numbers you could give us, what the company or the parent company is putting in as far as digitization goes, or artificial intelligence goes in manufacturing?
No, I would not put specific numbers, but I can just say that the trends, right? The trends of investments are very clearly skewed towards the digital side.
Mhm.
I would say that our trend is to the direction where we are crossing to the point where the majority of our investments are on the digital rather than on running the core business. I'm specifically talking about the technology piece, right? So I'm not talking about the product development, which is of course a different aspect of it. So I would really say that we are spending more on our digital solutions today than we are spending on our traditional projects, which are the usual IT projects that usually are run. I know that is really going a little bit more into the minority, and that really shows the mindset of the leadership, saying that the solutions of the future, the problems of the future, and the solutions of the future are addressed really by the digital core that we are building up inside our company, and all the solutions that we are putting out there. In terms of
Right.
just a sense of numbers, since you asked, I mean, I'm not talking investment numbers,
Hmm.
but we used to have two core systems with us, ERP and CRM as our core systems within Tata Motors as an IT. Today we have those still there, but we also have five distinct digital platforms, which if you put the numbers of usage together, they are about 3 to 4x the kind of usage that we have on our core system. So really speaking, the real usage of our end customers, both from internal and external, are happening on a digital platform rather than our core systems. And that's also something that Tata Motors has invested and built on. So it's our own IP built by our own teams using, of course, partners, but really it's our own Tata Motors IP that is driving this whole thing.
Got it. Got it. Any for last two questions quickly. COVID is apparently becoming a problem now with global outbreak. Any concerns you're having as an industry?
Of course, I know I don't have anything specific to say on that other than the fact that we are obviously going to be keenly watching and following whatever guidance we get from the local authorities as well as general guidance. Tata Motors has had a very strong internal framework to manage COVID in the past. We've had lockdowns, but we continue to manufacture and we continue to do it in a very safe manner. I'm sure we'll do the same. I think we are fully equipped to take on anything that comes on. From an IT perspective, we switched to work from home in a snap.
Right.
We can do that at any point. That's not the challenge. The point is, I guess, when do we want to actually pull it? And we'll be obviously looking at guidance from the government to do that.
And any expectations from the budget?
I really have nothing to really comment on that because I mean, it doesn't directly affect the space that we are working on. I'm sure that budgets will have their place, and we'll be responding to them accordingly.
Well, Mr. Gopinath Jayaraj, pleasure as always to speak to you. Thank you so much for joining us and wishing you all the best for the festive season and, of course, the New Year's. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.